What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. As you know, I have been weighing in on Brother Tariq and Uncle Luke's back and forth. Not because it's so funny and hilarious, because it is, but because it hits dear to me. If you guys remember when I first started my content, I was very pro African American in my stance. I was going to medical school in Europe, and then I became a strong African American, what you call now hashtag FBA. And then I was an African American with strong Pan-African leanings. Came to Uganda and I fell in love with the country, and then I went into full-blown Pan-Africanism. But man, I gotta admit, a lot of the things that Brother Tariq was saying is right. Even though I've criticized him, I've just lived it, man. And a lot of the things that Tariq is talking about when he talks about the idea of delineating, as much as I love the brothers on the continent of Africa, as much as I love all black people, man, does he have a point. First of all, here's what I've seen. This is what Tariq Nasheed is going to point out. But first I want to let him basically talk about Luke and kind of grifting off the African American community, and then I'm going to come back.
So yeah, Uncle Luke wanted to get some clout and did a Twitter space with me in the title, and he was trying to bait me to go into the room, which I wasn't going to go. He was just desperately trying to bait me to go in there, and he had to use my title, my name, for clout, and I didn't listen to it. I heard little snippets people were kind of posting up. People were going in there hoping that I was going to go in there, which I wasn't, but people were getting on his bumper. And he started crashing out because of all the support that I got. He didn't expect me and the family to get so much support. So that made him really doubly crash out, because I think with Luke, he kind of listens to some of the musty little Tether trolls that lurk around, and it's not that, there's only a handful of them that be on these spaces with all of their multiple accounts. See, that's the thing with Luke. I think he underestimated. He thought that there were enough anti-Tariq haters out here that was going to level amount of support for him. He thought that he had an army of Tariq haters, and it's really about 4 or 5 Tethers who got about 30 or 45 different accounts that they all troll from. So he didn't get the support he thought he was going to get. So from what I understand, a lot of people were in there supporting me, and he was getting clowned, and he was really crashing out. He was having a hissy fit. Some people said he sounded like he was drunk. From my understanding, Riza Islam went in there because Luke keeps trying to compare himself to Minister Farrakhan and all this stuff, and he keeps just saying just a bunch of tether babble, bringing up Farrakhan and Malcolm X. So Riza, from what I understand, hopped in and said, "Hey man, let me talk to you about Farrakhan. You bringing Farrakhan into this?" And then I think Luke crashed out on him. So it's Luke really embarrassed himself, and this is why I didn't go in there, because I knew he was going to crash out. Luke, he don't have no talent, and he's not an interesting person. Luke's whole thing is just latching on to people who are interesting, people who have talent. You got to understand the tether mindset. See, this is the thing. This is how you got to learn how to deal with tethers. You got to let tethers crash out on their own. See, that's what tethers are so afraid of. Tethers know, many of the tethers, they don't have no talent. They're not that very interesting. Nobody's really checking for them. So they have to bait us and keep us around. They need us to go in their spaces. They need us to be the topic of discussion. So he needed me in the space. I knew he did. Because see, if I went in that space, just me being in there, that would have saved that space. That would have saved him from embarrassing himself. Just my presence being in there, which I wasn't going to give him that alley-oop. So you got to know how to play chess with these tethers. He thought he was going to bait me in the room. No, I didn't go in. And because he's not an interesting or articulate person, he had the floor to himself. See, he couldn't get in there and just lie. See, what they want to do, they want to get us in these rooms so they can just lie and troll. And just put us on the defensive with all of their lying and trolling. They don't have anything interesting. They want to get us in these little troll spaces so they can just throw lies at us back to back, and then we have to keep defending their dumbass lies. When we don't show up, and then you try to clout chase with us in the title or be in the title, and we ain't in there, now people have to listen to your mush mouth, no talking, inarticulate ass, and then you crash out because ain't nobody feeling what you have to say. This is how you punish tethers. Leave them alone. Leave them to their own volition. Leave them by themselves. Leave them somewhere where they have to fend for themselves and speak for themselves. They're always going to crash out. You understand? That's why tethers are so hell-bent on being latched on and attached to us. When we delineate, it's a wrap for them. And Luther Campbell is a king tether. This dude has been tethering off people his whole career. Luther Campbell can't rap. He's not an artist, not a producer. And that whole sound came from California. That was Mr. Mix who created that sound. You dig? But he was latching on and tethering on to us all along. You see? And a lot of the tethers have that mindset. So when we delineate, that's when they get all huffy and puffy and upset. They need us to tether to, family. Now, again, when they do something constructive and they get a win, they make sure to delineate from us. They make sure that it's a win for their island or their African nation. They go out of their way. But every other day, it's all about them latching on to us.
So firstly, I will say that I live now in Africa, and I've seen almost every iteration of African American culture and life. You go to Nairobi, you see Ice Cube on the buses, you see Kobe, LeBron on the buses. The culture is very embraced, and that's great. I think that's important. But oftentimes, what I notice is whenever it's good for a group to grift off the community, they will. And then I tell you, whenever they do something very well, then it's Jamaican pride or Nigerian pride or Ugandan pride or Kenyan pride and all of this stuff. And then, when it comes to African Americans delineating from others, there seems to be an issue because we're the guys that's the bag. I'm sorry, even with the whole thing to Ghana, man, come to the year of return, that was catered toward the African American community. And it's always when you deal on the continent of Africa, and I've been living here for 6 years and I love it here. But am I gonna tell you that I feel like I've been treated like a brother? And no, I'm just gonna be honest. Nah, man, there's so many times. There was one comment that touched me, and the comment said, "Hey, man, all that stuff you're doing in Uganda, man, you should have done this in the African American community." And I'm telling you, don't be surprised if one day your boy O'Shea is back in East Oakland someplace, or Philadelphia, or St. Louis, because you know what? Your boy has been frustrated. I've been on the continent of Africa in this country for 6 years, and the frustrations that I have when I see what some of these things that are going on, it's one-sided Pan-Africanism. This is not for everybody, but it's what it feels like, and it's typically what people can get out of you. I didn't really experience that in the African American community, maybe because this was my own group, but that's what you deal with. And you deal with it a lot. And again, people want to be all involved into your stuff and then keep you out of their stuff. For example, we have in this community a small African-American private group that we have, right? There were some people from the diaspora. And of course, we would include somebody from like Black Britain. There are some people that were from this diaspora that wanted in on that group. They felt like they were outsiders. Okay. And I'm going to be honest, when it came to bringing a lot of value to the group or monetary contributions to that particular group, it wasn't them, it was us, okay? And we were the ones that were bringing all of the opportunity, even for those in the diaspora that's from here. I didn't bring anything to that group, to any functionality of what was going on. It was the African Americans that was doing that. And that's typically the case a lot of times. They want to be involved in what, I'm not saying this is all Africans, but hey, they want to be involved in what benefits that particular situation and kind of, hey, if you got something going on, we want to be a part of it. And, you know, hey, whatever we got going on and it's certain information that's beneficial, they keep that from you. This is not everybody, but this is what it is. And that's why delineation is the key. And I think you can still be in the Pan-African community. You can still want Africa to grow. But I'm now about Pan-Africanism with extreme delineation. I think it just doesn't make sense to try to blur it out without tribes and all this. And of course, you know, I don't really operate on tribalism like that. But hey, that's how people operate. And I think that we got to stop being used as a people, as a group. And that people need to give us value for what we bring to others. Because when you come to Africa, they make you bring value. If I had been able to expose and tell it all, man, I probably could never come back to this place. Some of the things I've seen here, you know, and I love it here. I love the people here. I've had a great time. It's been a mind-blowing, extreme experience for me. It's been out of body, but it's come with some issues. And the brother is right about a lot of stuff that he's talking about, because I'm here. Tariq and Nasheed is not in Africa. I'm living in Africa. And the longer I'm here, the more he makes sense about a lot of stuff he's talking about. Okay? The more it makes sense. This is not even me being in America. It's just what I'm experiencing here. Not to say that it's all bad, but you start to realize, man, that hey, all skin folk ain't your kin folks. There's only a real few that rock with you like that. And you gotta appreciate them few. And a lot of people are looking at you as an opportunity because you do got the African-American business connections. You do got African-Americans coming through. And they don't care nothing about you. They want to just use you for whatever you got. That's the reality. That's the reality too. And yes, you do have great people. I've met them. I've built a great business here and all of that. But hey, but the bruh's right. I didn't want to come out and have to really explain that. I don't want to come out and really say that. But hey, yes. You know, you can feel like that here. Where you don't even really want to deal with anybody because you feel like you're about to get used in a bad situation. I ain't talking about just this country. I'm just wherever you go. I was in Nairobi experiencing the same thing. So he's right to a certain degree. And this is without me saying, you know, a lot of disrespectful things to people, because I love everybody. But yes, we gotta have a delineation about who we are as a group and what we have as a group in comparison to everyone else, not taking away what they are owed. And a lot of people grift off our community and don't want to give nothing back, but all the time expecting us to give to them. That's all they do. When African Americans, and again, that's one of the reasons why I really stopped, or I really wasn't so keen on, you know, just African Americans moving to Africa, moving to Uganda so much, or really pushing that narrative. Because I just, you know, everybody expects you to give and nobody want to give you anything. Why is it always us giving as a group to the continent, when do we get anything like for what we give? It's always us bringing money, always us bringing this. These people don't give us anything. Even in America, there are many Africans that are doing extremely well. They don't, it's not like they're working with us and vice versa. When we come here, you know, hey, you're giving everything that you have. You know how many times your boy that went through and something was stolen or broken into, or, you know, and this is, I'm like, hey man, I could have stayed in Jackson, Mississippi or something like for this. And I'm probably only gonna talk about it just this one time, but man, this is very true. This is very true. People like Luke and a lot of folks don't want African Americans to delineate, and they benefit off of what we have in America, what we've done, because it helps them. And at the same time, you're not everybody, but you do have those pockets of people who have lots of negative things to say. And let me give a shout out to the brothers and sisters who's rocking with us and all of that stuff. But when we come out here, we got to be perfect citizens. You know, people don't look at you as the same, and that's okay. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shirley Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity John. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.